That's going to be my big challenge. One building. I'll try this one. Not every other. Good to see you.
It's time to kick off our trustee meeting. So with that, let's go with Debbie. Can you do the call to order?
Kelly?
Here. Here.
Here.
All right, so it's time to do the Pledge of Allegiance. So let's go ahead and stand if you could. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Norm, you did the lead. All right.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. So I promised Craig that we would do, there's a hiring tonight, a firefighter hiring tonight. So I want to put that on the agenda just a little bit ahead of the old business, which will be the White Oak Road discussion. But we're going to go ahead and do that swearing in now if we could. And then we'll go from there. But first, let me do the approval of the minutes and then we'll get to you, Craig. Do we have? Yeah, Debbie just reminded me, we need to make a motion to amend the agenda because we're moving something from the middle part to the top. So is there a motion to amend the agenda to allow us to do the hiring action now?
Yes. I will second.
A motion and a second. Got to do roll call.
Mr. Shepherd?
Here.
Kelly?
Yes.
And Mr. Freeman?
All right, so now we've moved that up. Now let's do the approval of the minutes and then we'll do that.
The January 15th, 2026 regular meeting.
So moved.
Yes.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Shepherd?
Yes.
And Mr. Freeman?
Yes. Okay, Craig, you're on.
I request a motion to approve the appointment of Kayla Vincent as a full-time firefighter paramedic at the established rate per the collective bargaining agreement of step 1, effective March 2nd, 2026 at 0600 hours, pending successful completion of her pre-employment physical examination and Ohio BCI background check. Kayla shall complete her Ohio Fire Safety Inspector class and receive certification with 1 year and shall serve a 1-year probationary period.
All right, so we have a motion request. Do we have a motion from the board?
Yes.
All right, okay. Motion is second. Do we have a roll call?
Mr. Shepherd?
Here.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Freeman?
Yes. Well, you just squeaked through. Do you want me to do that? All right. Oh, this is fun.
You gotta watch him, be by.
This is the fun part because our oath of office is one of the longest in known history. In fact, if you became president of the United States, that oath is much shorter than this one. So the key is you have to remember to say your name. Got that? Ready? I state your name.
I, Caitlin Vincent,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support the Constitution and laws of the United States of America.
support the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America,
State of Ohio and Pierce Township, to which I am appointed.
state of Ohio, and Pierce Township, which I am,
And to the best of my ability, will discharge the duties of this office.
to the best of my ability, to discharge the duty of the office.
I will faithfully and honorably strive to protect our future.
Will faithfully and honorably strive to protect our future,
Protect the safety, lives, and property of our citizens and my fellow members.
Right.
Yeah.
yes,
You know, this is something. Protect the safety, lives, and property
protect the safety, lives, and property
of our citizens and my fellow members.
of our citizens and our own.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Welcome aboard.
Greg, did you run them off?
Yes.
Jeez. All right. So now, with that, we'll move into old business. And Eddie, could you kick off the discussion of White Oak Road?
No problem. So kind of before I dive in, I just want to let everyone know that there are posters in the back of the room that have the 4 different recommendations that were provided by the Ohio Department of Transportation. So if you're so inclined, you can write on the posters under the comment section. You can also place stickers on posters that you have a preference for, that sort of thing. Now, anytime throughout the meeting or whenever you feel free. So just a little bit of background on the White Oak safety study. So this has obviously been a problem for longer than just a couple of years. It's probably been multiple decades that residents have had concerns about White Oak, and it's just its safety, functionality, everything to that effect. But the latest push started approximately in 2023. We were doing a lot of land use planning, soliciting a lot of public input. And during that period of time, we received a lot of resident feedback, specifically about State Route 125, White Oak, and that intersection generally. And so shortly after that, the Board of Trustees decided to reach out to ODOT, get their opinion on whether or not they shared this as a top priority, that sort of thing. So they looked at their data. They have what's called the Highway Safety Improvement Map, and they show a significant amount of we'll say traffic conflicts, accidents, that sort of thing. And this particular intersection has appeared on their priority list 3 times in the last decade. So it's become a bigger priority for them over time. After that, in April of 2024, ODOT commissioned a study with a private consultant called EMH&T Engineers. They're the ones who did the study and then produced the 4 different options that you see on the back wall and that were put on our website and that sort of thing. And they basically studied crash trends, traffic data, and that effectively informed all of the decisions that they have in the study. So as discussed, this is the study area. You can see White Oak, Lewis, and then State Route 125. So the study is available if you want to get really deep into it, but I'll hit on the major kind of key issues that they targeted. So effectively, there's 3 major conflict points. The first one is left turns from Lewis and White Oak onto 125. The second one are southbound traffic on Lewis Road. So that would be folks coming from State Route 125 and going directly south down Lewis. It's also people turning from White Oak down onto Lewis. And then the third biggest item are traffic on 125 that are turning left onto White Oak or Lewis Road. So those are kind of the three main components. And as you can see, they analyzed crash data from 2018 to 2023. And they also had a traffic collection for data in May of 2024 as well. But 48% of crashes were what are considered angle crashes. So it's two vehicles basically not necessarily hitting head on, but kind of swiping into the sides of each other, that sort of thing. And while left turning vehicles onto 125 represent 18% of average traffic, they were involved in 80% of all crashes. So that's quite significant for such a small proportion of the actual vehicular traffic. So the ODOT District Safety Review team met recently, reviewed all of the different options, and recommended that alternate 3 was their preferred option. So as you can see on alternate 3, and it's shown on the back wall as well, there's a cul-de-sac on Lewis Road. And then there's a new road proposed that would run behind what's the water tower property between Lewis and White Oak. And all left turns onto 125 would be restricted. So you can see that there's a median proposed, and that's what's in green there. There's also some right-of-way acquisition and things of that effect that are also proposed. This is the this is what's considered the short-term countermeasure. This would be the quote-unquote the cheapest option. And all that's proposed in this particular option is restricting left turns onto 125. And it's also restricting that second batch of conflict, which is traffic heading south down Lewis. So as you can see, you could come up White Oak and turn right, or you could go up Lewis and turn right onto 125, but you can no longer turn left onto 125. And you could no longer turn left from Lewis onto White Oak, that sort of thing.
And nobody can go down Lewis Road.
Lewis Road traffic would be rerouted
So
significantly.
be shut off. Going over. All right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Turn off 125, White Oak.
On that, yes.
You know, what might be a good idea? You know, hey, guys. Why don't we hold questions until after he's done with his report?
Alternate long-term option, number 1, is very similar to the short-term countermeasure, but what you'll notice the difference is there's a lot of driveway consolidation. So you'll see on Super Sam's property across the street in Batavia Township, there's some green portions that basically what they're doing is they're narrowing drive entrances so you have less conflict points. So that's really the only major difference on that one. And then alternate number 2 is, of course, the same as alternate long-term 1. The only difference is the median proposed in the middle of 125, which would restrict any turning from 125 down onto White Oak or onto Lewis. So based off of discussions with ODOT, the timing is generally dependent upon how the design would occur. So presently, ODOT would prefer to design the project in-house. And of course, they're interested in resident feedback. And so a major part of our process was that when we received all of these recommendations, we wanted to get it out to the public as early as we could and to get as much feedback as possible, given these timelines and for how long this project has kind of gone on. We put it out for 2 weeks on Facebook, our website. We also sent mailers out to residents on Grants Pass because we felt that they could be uniquely impacted by a number of these different options. But having said that, if ODOT designs this in-house, they could start design immediately. As part of their design process, they would also have another public input process. So whatever design option they come up with, they would then send it back out. So this process is actually, it's really just voluntary because our board wants to get as much public input as possible, as early as possible. If ODOT designs it in-house, the first round of funding for right-of-way would occur in 2029, and then construction would be anticipated in 2030. If they do not design it in-house, the project would basically go to construction in 2031, 2032, because they would have to find another consultant to do their design. So ultimately, after ODOT and their consultant sent this out to the township, we wanted to solicit, they requested that the township provide what our preference would be and any sort of comments or feedback we might have. So it could be something as much as a couple minor tweaks, or it could be we have an interest in an entirely different concept. They're open to all different possibilities, but their interest is getting township feedback on what our approach is and what we would prefer. So staff is basically is just requesting a general consensus if possible, and that we would submit that response letter to ODOT so that they would have a perspective on where township elected officials and residents stand on this particular matter. The last piece is that as part of this entire process, staff met and discussed these various different options. And some of the considerations that we have are, of course, long-term impacts at Appomattox. We think that regardless of whatever option is actually chosen, there's likely to be impacts at Appomattox. So just because a treatment is made at White Oak doesn't mean that we can take our eye off of Appomattox. So we think that should be watched closely long-term. Proposed solutions should focus on the primary operational issues, such as left turns onto 125. That's over and beyond probably the most major issue that we see at that intersection are left turns on the 125. We think that the installation of a median on 125 is probably most likely undesirable. And public input as part of this process generally supported alternative number 3 over the other options. So that's not necessarily a consensus or it's not necessarily unanimous, but for the most part, the public input that we received, and we received a significant amount on Facebook, our website, and so forth, but alternative 3 tended to be the most preferred of all the different options. As part of the process, we're happy to take any questions, and also our consultant engineer from American Structure Point, who did not work on this project but has expertise in engineering, can also help facilitate some of the process if anyone has any questions.
And what I would ask you to do is, if you do have questions or comments, to come up to the microphone, because what we want to do is memorialize what those comments are, so that, and everything's being, taped and it'll be on YouTube. But we also want to make sure that your thoughts are then sent to ODOT and available for ODOT for their consideration as they move forward. I've been through this process a couple of times, and I think what ODOT is trying, you can check me if I'm wrong, but ODOT, as Eddie said, ODOT, this is just kind of the first phase of it, and they're looking to try to get funding for this project. And so there's a funding source. They're chasing the funding source. But as Eddie said, this project may not get built until 2030. So between now and then, I've seen projects shift their form about a dozen times, but by the time they've been funded to the time they're actually constructed. So there's going to be a lot of public involvement. But when ODOT came to the township and said, what are your thoughts? Our thought was, let's find out what your thought is. And so that's why we went out and tried to get as much public input as we could get on the front end of this, knowing that there's going to be a whole lot more discussion, but we really wanted to have that discussion. So with that, I'll open the microphone. What?
Quick, since government usually communicates so well amongst different agencies, when we did get the proposals back and I talked with Mr. McCarthy, I think we're all aware that Water Resources is planning a water main extension replacement
Right.
on the section of White Oak from Merwin to 125. So I was concerned that they would design it, start doing it, and then there would be a change. So I did reach out to Claremont County Water Resources. I sent them those options that ODOT provided with kind of what we were doing. And they did respond back that they took that into account for their design so that any of the options, there wouldn't be significant changes later to move hydrants or water mains. They were going to account for that in their design portion.
So another value of actually discussing it up front, so that we don't build something and then they come back through in about, a year and tear it back up. So that's a good thing. More conversation, the more we discuss these things, the better off we all are. But with that, anybody that wants to come on up, say your name, say your address, and that way we can get everything on the record.
I guess my question, Mr. McCarthy, is.
Yeah.
Your name, sir.
Got to do the name and address if you can.
Oh, my name is Rodney Sellers.
Okay.
I live in Versailles, Indiana. You need my address, P.O. Box 213.
That'll work.
I've had the property since 67.
And which is your, just out of
This is
curiosity?
my property here if you look at, the one that they just put back up there.
Okay,
I'm the one in the lower right-hand quadrant there.
Okay.
On 125, where Rick's motorcycle shop is and the car lot.
okay. All right, thank you.
All right. Now, my question is, you know, I mean, I know ODOT has I've been in many offices, and I mean, if they've already got their plan, I mean, I don't know how tough they're going to be to want to do the work over again. I mean, people are just people. So, I mean, talking with them, you're going to have to be, I'd like to know how to get in touch with them to make sure that I'm talking to somebody that's going to be looking down there and talking to the people around here that this process right here, this is what I have. I don't know how that got up there. Is that it? Yes. If you look, what has happened here is it's the same road that is on those where the new road is. And what it is Lewis Road. You can come off this way, you can come off of 125 and go straight down Lewis Road home or wherever you go. You can also still get into my parking lot. If you come off of 125 and go into Sam's place, you can still get into Sam's, and you can go after you get your donuts, you can go down White Oak Road and go home. If you're going to out here to 125 and want to turn right, go to Kroger's, you just come down White Oak, you come across there, you turn left on Lewis, just like you do, and you go on up there. And you can put that barricade back up in there in the middle, whatever you want to do. But that way, these two business properties are protected and they're not isolated from access from 125. And people can get down Lewis Road without having to have all those little wrecks they showed you where people are coming across White Oak there, you know how you do. And then you got a buck Lewis Road, that'll all be gone. And I think that's a better outfit for everybody involved. The people that live down Lewis, me, people that live down White Oak can still go down Appomattox, and when this is all done, you're gonna have to go to Appomattox off of White Oak Gate. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, real quick, I was gonna linger on that if you don't mind, Rodney.
No,
It's Rodney, right? So I hadn't seen this until just now, just before the meeting, but I've been similar to, I was looking at it earlier today, so it's ironic in that sense, but I think this, and I know what it seems like Rodney owns this business and we've got Sam, they're kind of focused on their businesses, but I still think that this could be the best solution for all parties, anybody traveling this road. And there's a few things that it could do that some of these other solutions don't. Is that when you come up here, there's no the two main problems that you had here are the difficult left turn because of the angle of the street. The two things I feel like we're really trying to focus on, and the queuing of cars to go out with that goofy three-way intersection right there. This would solve both those main issues. And when you come up to this intersection, I'm not even sure if you would need a right turn only, because now you're approaching the intersection in a way that you can see the traffic in which you're turning against. So you can see the traffic coming eastbound and you can easily turn into the center median much safer than you can if you're angled from the other direction, which is how it is now. So this would more or less solve that and may not even need the left turn. Furthermore, the amount of left turns you get from this in this particular scenario would be much less because most folks are going to come up here and go to Appomattox, and surely anybody coming from this direction would just go up Appomattox. Now you're gonna funnel a little more traffic up toward Appomattox.
Right.
There is no perfect solution,
but
this seems to solve more of the problems than any of ODOT's proposals, in my opinion, for those reasons. And I just wanted to throw out opinion initially on it for what it's.
Thank you for coming and yourselves.
Well, I actually like the drawing. It's colorful.
Gets the job done.
Okay, Stan Shadwell. That's all you need to know. Why don't we,
I really want to know your address, though.
yeah, no, you don't. Why don't we put a set of traffic lights there?
Well, I'll defer to the engineer.
Well, firstly, I have several questions.
Oh, okay.
I should have asked the first question first. The thing you sent out to us said that these surveys were dated July 2025. How come it's taken 8 months to get it out to the people? Should that not have come out to the people a little earlier than 8 months later?
Eddie's got that
I
one.
actually have some insight on that one. So when we actually got it, we met at the staff level. We organized a meeting with the county engineer's office. And then while we were doing all of that, just to try and see if there was some common ground or consensus to figure out what everyone was thinking on it, ODOT began working on some tweaks to the plan. And so the plan, they made some changes. And then January 20th, 2026, they came out with a tweaked version of the data as well. But that's why it was kind of a moving target. And when we received it, they were not sure if they were going to go for funding in March or what their timing was. But a lot of it was us trying to work with the county to figure out where they were, and they were bringing new staff on, some other things like that. But either way, it was, kind of a moving target. But
Well,
Okay.
most of this timeline has been created by ODOT, not by us. So ODOT settled in on a funding source, and that's what they do. They zip toward the funding line.
Why did they not consider traffic lights? If you had a traffic light, then you would still be able to turn left out of Lewis. You could still turn right out of the White Oak intersection. People would not be unable to go into Sam's, or people would be cutting through. People cut through Sam's now,
Mhm.
but any of these things would make it worse. And a couple of them, like the last alternate one that's only going to cost 80 grand. You can't get in and 84,000. You can't get in and out of Sam's. Basically, and we come up White Oak, we can't turn left because you've got silly bubble things stuck in the middle of the bloody road, and you can't turn in. So that would screw Sam's business. So you need to have something that remains constant, and traffic light would be perfect because if you want to go down White Oak like we do to get down to where we live, to come down to here, you don't want to go down to Appomattox because it's narrow and it's damn hard too. So you want to turn left in there, and you have to gauge people want to turn left out. You have to gauge the lunatics driving up 125 at some ungodly speed, people ducking out of Sam's. So it's very difficult. So you just put a set of traffic lights in there. It's not that difficult. They don't cost that much.
Yes, they do.
Well, they sure as well don't cost $1.4 million. I could almost guarantee.
How much
that.
does a traffic light cost?
Yes. Which is hard, just a little bit more than the 400 that the other ones are. So, that would solve the problems. They could still drive up Lewis, turn left. We could still drive up White Oak and turn out. We could come back, turn into White Oak like it is now. It should be fundamentally easy to do.
Would you like to address any of that?
Yeah, happy to, the traffic.
Come on up.
Sorry.
Were you done? I mean, Stan, you don't have to sit down if you've got more questions.
No.
Okay.
I'll then use the microphone.
Yeah, Sean Mason, American Structure Point, give you my address, 9825 Kenwood Road, Cincinnati. The study that was done by EMH&T did address the traffic signal question. It's a great question. There are signal warrants that need to be met, and unfortunately, the traffic volumes for the peak hour, other warrants that have to be met. None of those warrants were met, so therefore ODOT would not consider a traffic location.
Right. Did you hear that,
Yeah.
Stan?
Like I said, but one of the key things that the 4 subjects that were put up screw the people who come up Lewis, period. They can't turn left. They either go around the world for 50 cents around the back of the water tower. They screw Sam and the thing across the road. Sam's the poor one because you're going to block off one of his entrances. although, you know, as I said, people drive through there at 40 miles an hour, for God's sake. But traffic light solves all of the problems. You almost can leave the corner exactly as it is.
But I will tell you this, as much as I love the question and I love the potential answer, what you probably didn't hear, because I guess some folks didn't hear it, is that ODOT already looked at that as an option. It's in the study that ODOT did, and they said that that particular location does not warrant a traffic light. And to your point, when ODOT decides something, they're not going to do it.
Everybody seems to be okay with, at least okay with, this proposal, but, that doesn't mean that the guy that's got to redraw up there doesn't want to go fishing this weekend.
Right, but
I agree.
But that doesn't do anything for me driving up White Oak to go to Kroger's or
Right.
up to, you know, Wally World or something like that. I've got to go around the world for 1 and 6pence. I've got to go up Appomattox, which is like, I don't know if you drive up there, thank you very much. But you know, at least we could do what it was, you know, and keep it at, you know, keep it as it was. If you did traffic lights, I mean, they're measuring the amount of traffic. It's more than the regulation, 700 feet or wherever it is from the next traffic light. The traffic's no different to what it is at Kroger's or, you know, back further. So why would they not want to put a traffic light on?
Was the actual study made available to everyone to see so that they could see the sections where they discussed where the traffic lights were studied and the traffic counts for that particular spot?
Okay.
Yeah, could you just repeat what you said about the warrants for the lights?
So the traffic, like there are warrants that need to be met and stuff that. ODOT requires this, even if it was 2 township roads coming together, ODOT wasn't either. We need to meet certain warrants to install that.
And they are.
A warrant is basically an approval. So they call it's a fancy term that ODOT likes to use. And so it's just an approval.
It's based on.
What?
It's based on traffic volumes at certain
I
times.
can't hear you.
Basically, I think it goes that makes sense. When the main road has such a. It's having a lot of sometimes.
You know, with sometimes if you actually drive up there and have been up there, when the lights change further down, the ones at the shopping center down the road, there's a gap. Right. That's when you can actually turn left. There's a gap when those things take off from the second set of traffic lights. Now, I mean, granted, they're driving like lunatics, but there's at least a gap where you can get a couple of cars around, because there'll be 4 or 5 cars pulled up to turn left into Lewis, and you wait for the gap and then round you go. These poor buggers can't get out because we're turning left across the front of them. But a traffic light would solve all those problems, because you'd have, you know, right turn onlys would be able to go in. When the lights change, we could turn in. They could turn out.
Well, so my opinion on this would be, time is unfortunately finite, particularly this evening. I believe this gentleman that of what he's saying with the criteria that need to be met in order to put a traffic light in. I think that's true. And if it is true, then we can't do anything about it. And if we can't do anything about it, we should plan for how things are and not how we wish they be, making this particular rabbit hole not overly fruitful. So I do like that option number 4 that this gentleman presented, and I would like to hear any further discussion into the bin of things that we can do and viable options that may be actually implementable.
Right, but
in
that
this situation.
still affects Sam's drastically. If
Everything-
people turn into Sam's, then turn out to continue on their way up towards Crow.
Yes, you're gonna have a negative impact no matter what you do. And as much as I hate to bring back up the traffic light again,
Right.
it doesn't solve that 3-way problem that you have as well, with cars queuing up, cars coming in, turning right off of 125 onto White Oak, and then immediately taking a quick left onto Lewis. It doesn't matter. There's no perfect solution. Full stop. There's no perfect solution. So whatever you do is you're going to pull one lever, and you're going to have something else that's going to be somewhat, you're going to look for the maximum total benefit for what we do. And in my opinion, option 4 has a good shot at that for a few reasons, but I would like to get as much input as possible tonight so that we can eventually, you take the next step with putting some rubber on the road. If we can get some sort of consensus here on what folks think could be the best
We
approach.
should ask Sam what he thinks the effect's going to be on his business.
Sure.
Because it's going to have a bad effect. That would have a bad effect on his business. People go in there, then turn back out.
Well,
Yeah.
Sam can speak for himself,
Right.
but yeah. Thank you.
Sam, you're up. Oh, wait, no, sorry, Sam, hold up. He was up next. And then we'll get you, Sam.
My name is Bill Chambers. I live on Lewis Road, 3658, right by Grant Pass.
Yeah.
And I'd like to know when the township originally bought the property, there where the water plant was. I was led to believe that there was going to be a road put across there and go down the road a ways and cross 125, because one of the issues with the traffic light is they won't put one where there's not a cross intersection.
Right.
And go down and like where Bristol Lake is,
Right.
put a cross intersection there with a light.
Right.
And I've not heard anything about that since then.
Eddie, doesn't one of the options does lead you partway there and then it stops? And so I think because of cost, I think ODOT didn't go all the way across to Bristol, but I could be wrong.
Actually, there have been a number of discussions, I think going back probably 10, 15, 20 years. And I think that had been an option. I don't have it offhand. I think it may have been developed by the county engineer at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, ODOT did not go that far for this particular study. But I think the county engineer's office may have drafted something many years ago to that effect.
There have been several cracks at this, from a county engineer version.
I've lived there for 50 years,
You've probably seen them all.
and the traffic is gone crazy, and they don't do anything about the speed.
Right.
In the evening, you can't go to the mailbox without risking your life.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not talking about people going 50 instead of 45. I'm talking people going 80 and 90.
Mm-hmm.
And
Flying off the.
I don't know why the most I've ever seen done is they put their little sign out there one time for a couple of days,
Mm-hmm.
the speed sign.
Right.
That's all I've ever seen done. I've never seen anybody set radar up or anything out there. It's just like a racetrack.
Well, and the
This
added.
plan over here, all that traffic that comes down White Oak's gonna go right out through Sam's now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that's just dead ending into
His-
basically Sam's parking lot.
And then you have the people out there turning left again.
Mm-hmm. And then Sam's parking lot's going to be the new White Oak. Thank you. Okay, Sam, now it's your turn.
My name is Sam Patel, and I live in 1259 White Oak Road, Amelia, Ohio. This is like in Rodney have this plan is number 3 is reversal.
Yeah.
So that's fine, but in same time on those Appomattox Road, if somebody gonna from Lewis to the left turn, is no left turn here, so they're gonna use the Appomattox Road. So I request those road have like in a left turn, a little bit like in a 2-lane over there on Appomattox. So load gonna be on from Lewis and White Oak Road because people gonna use those in Appomattox Road. So I request over there too, like in a little 2-lane, like left turn and right turn on the wide little bit, those from 125 and Appomattox. So that's where probably little bit problem solved in the traffic here too. And this is fine to me. But make sure those on White Oak Road, I have access. Somebody want to come from Lewis or White Oak. So that's fine. And also, I hope nobody gonna cut through there.
Yeah, I think you're
So
right.
That's the things. But this plan is like in the number 3, or just reverse. But I hope you're gonna, like someone like Oda gonna work over there in appomattox, like to like a little bit wider, so
Mhm.
somebody can come easy left turn or right turn there.
Right.
That's I suggest.
All right, thank you. Now we're in trouble.
Yeah, so I got the big packet.
Oh,
Kristen Cannon, 985 White Oak Road. I'm really glad we got an expert in here today because I read all the wonderful traffic signal stuff. I'm also glad that Bristol Lake was mentioned. In the report, they did at one point evaluate a 4th option for signalization in the report. And then it was also mentioned that while currently it doesn't work for signalization, if we did evaluate the Bristol Lake relocation, it would then start to probably qualify for signalization inside of the report. It was mentioned. So that is something to consider for long-term use, is that signalization might become a thing if we were to go ahead and do that road. So just like that. I'm really glad that staff caught the Appomattox thing. I was really worried about that. Honestly, my fiance loves to take Appomattox. He doesn't like taking White Oak. So doesn't make sense to me that it wasn't included in the study, but is what it is. And then Appendix D. I don't know if anybody got to take a look at that. All of the wonderful things that were recommended, including that beautiful road. I understand that it probably wasn't looked at for funding, but I'd really like to see long-term, depending on what we can get for funding, if we could consider that.
and when you say that, you're referring to the extension across to Bristol.
Yes, there's a couple different options in here where it has White Oak just extend all the way through, and then an option where you have White Oak go and then you have Bristol cut through. Just depends how you look at it, but those are awesome. I was kind of disappointed with the option that they did choose from Appendix D for our 3rd option. I understand why for cost, but it does suck, and I highly recommend people take a look at that. Then I think that was my only thing. I'm just really worried about option 2. Please don't pick option 2. That left out, if we force everyone down Appomattox, I keep wanting to say Appomattox. Appomattox, we're just gonna force the left in and right in, no, left in. If both of those are going down Appomattox, we are really stuck. Versus at least if we can split it up between the 2, it would help. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Anybody else? Come on up.
Okay, Shadwell. My question is to.
She starts talking from her chair up. It's perfect.
Yeah, why not? My question is, when they did this study, why on all of them do they have only a right turn out of Lewis? Because that way people who live in Lewis, and I don't live in Lewis,
Right.
have to go, if they want to go to Sam's or they want to get onto 120, go down White Oak, they can't. The only option is to go right and then right again if they want to go that way. If they want to go west, they don't have that option. Because they've got a stop sign and they've got a right only turn and a right only turn under 125. The people in Lewis, they've got to go around the world. I don't know what they do, go into Kroger's, chuck a U-turn and come back out. If they want to go west, not a good use of the.
Well, I think in option 3, if I'm not mistaken, option 3 would then route them down, which is, you said, around the world. They would take Appomattox and then do a right or left at Appomattox. Is that right? So they could do a right in, right out if they're on Lewis.
Right.
Yeah, but the other ones have a right turn only off Lewis.
But if you want to do a left turn, you got to go down to Appomattox.
Yeah. But what happens if they walk, from there, if they've got a right turn only out of Lewis to 125 and a right turn only to 125, if they want to go west, they've got to go up to Kroger, turn it around and come back again. Because they're all got.
Well, I mean, in theory, yes, but I mean, again, they could slip out Appomattox.
Yeah.
And
No,
go
but
that way.
what I'm saying is if it's got a right turn only out of Lewis and then a right turn only out of, they can't get down to Appomattox without going against a sign that says
No.
right turn only.
Under most of the options, we build a new road that goes behind the water
One
tower.
option has building a road going behind the water tower.
Yeah, I think that the traffic would probably have to go through Grants Pass, which is that residential neighborhood in order to get to those left turns.
So people at Grants Pass are really gonna love that, aren't they?
Right. And the thing is, it's,
Well, that's why we have options. I don't like
But
that option either.
I think it's a really good point that you bring up because, and this is part of why staff thought it would be really important to solicit input because for all the good things that ODOT does, part of their study was that they weren't as concerned with how traffic south of this intersection was necessarily going to get to their destinations. And
Mhm.
we kind of understood that like they're not necessarily trying to cause problems for Grants Pass residents, but that's just not part. Their focus is really how do we eliminate crash conflict at that one particular location, right? Not necessarily, well, it's going to cause an issue in this residential neighborhood a quarter mile down the road, but obviously residents a quarter mile down the road have a very real interest in this. So that's why we kind of wanted this process. But you bring up a good point. I don't know that they really considered the inconvenience.
Well, I mean, ODOT a long time ago used to have the mantra, right? They said, build it forever, right? And so the idea was that it was supposed to be something that would last and not have to come back and redo it again. But then they went into another mode where they like to run around and say, first, do no harm. And everything they did harm. So, so again, I just want you to remember, this isn't our study. We did not do this study. We did not conduct it. We didn't pay for it. I mean, eventually we may pay for it. But we did not, this is something we're gathering information. So as much as, as you want to, tell us and give us your thoughts, that's what we're seeking tonight. We want to make sure that, borrowing ODOT's long lost mantra, first do no harm. That's what we want to make sure that we try to accomplish. Now, whenever you do a project like this, you're never going to be exactly perfect. And so there will be issues, as Nick pointed out. We will have to make decisions. But I think what we're trying to tell you by doing this and spending the extra time, we want to keep this dialogue going as the process goes along. So from the township's perspective, this is what we want. As this starts to be more real, then we want to make sure that we all have a lot of ownership over this eventual product. Because Sam, we don't want to ruin your business. We want your businesses to thrive. If you do well, we do well. We like that. So we're not and with the residents, we don't want to dump more traffic onto Grants Pass and make their life hell, or on Lewis Road. We don't want to make your life any more hell than it has been for 50 years. We want to try to make it better. And part of that has to be that we have to address this intersection, which is not an easy intersection to address. It sucks. And they built it wrong in the very beginning. And then we built around it and exacerbated that problem. So 50 years ago, it was probably a much easier intersection to navigate. Well, there you go. It was bad then. Another one of ODOT's manufacturings, right? Build it to last. Screw it up and build it to last. And here we are. We're going to have to fix that. That's not the only one we've got in this township that we have to fix. We've got to go back and retrofit a bunch of them. But yep.
Let's start with how many acts stand for that
Eddie jumped really quick to grab papers, so I think he's going to regale us with those facts. But the truth is, yeah, ODOT looked into crash data. I think a lot of the crash data is more of the glancing behavior, the fender benders, but we're not necessarily looking at over the last 5 years. Is that the horizon?
31 crashes occurred. And I know that we've had a couple since in 24 and 25 as well, which I know that our fire chief and police officer Gammon can refer to as well. But the study itself references 31. Yes.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's significant when you consider, but when you also look at the fact that actually, I think 125 at that spot is what, 34,000 cars a day, Eddie?
It's, yeah, 30,000. Yeah.
At a 34,000 vehicle interactions, we've got 31 strikes. So, well, I don't know that we can, I don't know whether we can, because those oftentimes become apples to oranges. So an intersection like further back, like at, I don't know, Merwin 10 Mile maybe is the closest one similar, but it's a straight, it's a crossover. So there's no
Much higher
movement to
volume.
it. Right.
It's hard. Yeah, you're never gonna get it.
Right. Yeah. And I think ODOT ultimately, I mean, I shouldn't think for ODOT. But perhaps that's what their thinking is that there's a phase one, which is whatever we wind up with. And then a phase two, which we move to, and then perhaps even a phase three. I've seen ODOT operate that way, where they do operate on multiple phases as funding becomes available. So again, this is a long way. I mean, 2030, but again, we want to hear, your thoughts as it goes along. But I think, did you have a question?
Yes. I've been involved in a couple of different scenarios where they try to put stoplights in different counties, one in Hamilton and one in another state. And I don't know if any of you have been involved in that, but putting a light in somewhere, good luck, because you're gonna need hundreds of people and thousands and thousands of signatures. But we do have two lights coming off that road. I tried during business hours never to make a left on 125 during normal business hours unless there's a light. So usually Merwin, like you said, is an exception. However, if you do go down there during business hours, many times it'll take you 2 cycles already to get through that light. And of course, that's only going to get worse. There's one at Amelia Road and one at Buxton. There are lights you can make less there. However, you have to get into the business parking lots of either Kroger or the movie theater there to make that left. So those are the other 2 options. There's tons of roads in the area, but for some reason, none of them directly connect to those lights to be able to make lefts. I don't know if that's a possibility. Like I've looked on maps before to see how I can get through there.
Right.
And there's maybe one house or something, and I don't know the circumstances of that one house and the inconvenience to all that, but making a left onto that during business hours is horrendous. If you're there at 4 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock or outside of business hours, making that left isn't a problem. So I don't see an issue with that, but I've always wondered why they don't connect anywhere on that south side of 125 to a light where you can make a left. Because right now Merwin's all you really have. And like I was saying, I come out there during business hours and I have to wait for the light to cycle. I missed the first light, have to wait for the second light to get through.
Right.
So that's just my input.
But for all of you that live on Lewis Road, he just told you, go at 4 o'clock in the morning because you can turn any way you want, 4 o'clock in the morning.
Well, that's the solution. Get up early.
Well, you just sit in the parking lot and wait. Anybody else? You came in with me, so I mean, come on. Up here. She doesn't really need the mic. She doesn't need the microphone. She's good.
Your data, how old is that data? Is that including with all the new subdivision that was built program or before program, before all these? I mean, that's the thing. It's costing, whatever data that you need, probably.
Yeah, they did a collection in 2024, which obviously it's captured some of those additional homes that have gone in Prestwick and so forth. But the 2018 to 2023 as well, there was growth, but that's the latest data that they used was some collection in 2024. As well.
They use projections. Carry that all.
There's a model, which I think OKI, which is the regional transportation planning group, they call it the black box. And they feed it through the black box, and it takes what data from the Census Bureau, from all sorts of things, and crunches it into what would be a projection for the next 10 to 15 years, because that's how far out OKI plans. And so ODOT has access to that black box. And so it's not because it's secret or anything. It's just nobody quite understands it unless you're a planner, and you know how to do it. Is that correct?
Yes, they only. For this, they average that information in the 0.5%,
Right.
which is your.
All right. And so that's how they're able to progress. And they've actually been fairly accurate with their projections over time, because a lot of other projects, you can track it and see how it's adapted over that period of time. But that's most of this data, when I saw it, looked like it was relatively fresh. All right. So if there aren't any more questions, we do need to get to the next phase of our meeting. Not trying to cut anybody off or cut the meeting short, because we're going to have a whole lot more of these moving forward. But we do have to get to an executive session. We're moving we have the executive session earlier in the process, because sometimes we have action that we want to put on the agenda to be dealt with tonight. So that's why we're going to move to go into executive session. I promise I won't talk as much as I normally do. And so we'll be back out here as soon as we can. We may or may not have action, but at this point, I'd like to take a motion to adjourn into executive session in accordance with the Ohio Revised Code, section 121.22G8, to consider confidential information relating to specific business strategy and discuss negotiations with other political subdivisions respecting requests for economic development assistance, including public infrastructure and the possible expenditure of public funds. But what do I need to do for the rest of that? Because it is a huge thing and I don't feel like reading it.
Well, you don't have to read Part B, as long as you've determined by a roll call vote that the executive session is necessary to protect the interests of the applicant or the possible investment or expenditure of public funds. So make that as part of your finding, essentially. And then you can say that the information is related to a request for economic development.
Okay. What she said.
Yeah.
A unanimous quorum of the public body determines by a roll call vote that the executive session is necessary to protect the interests of the applicant or the possible investment or expenditure of public funds to be made in connection with economic development projects. Now, roll call.
I'll make the motion to go into executive session as stated.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Now, I want to also assure you that we are not talking about this project in that session. So just so you know, and there's no concern that we're, getting ready to go make a backroom deal while we're gone. It has nothing to do with this project. So with that, we're going to adjourn. We'll be right back. Here we go. Are we ready? Okay, we're going to come back in session. Can I have a motion to adjourn executive session?
Motion to adjourn?
Okay, motion to adjourn has been made and seconded. Can we have any further discussion on that matter? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Yes.
Yes, and as promised, we did do something and we're bringing it out here. And having said that, I need a motion to amend our original agenda to include a resolution regarding a zoning moratorium for data centers that would like to come into Pierce Township. Can I get a motion to amend our agenda to include that resolution?
Yes. Second?
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Shepherd.
Yes.
Mr. Kelly.
Yes.
And Mr. Freeman.
Okay, yes. I'm going to go straight to that. So I'm going to let Eddie and Christina take it away from here and start to discuss this resolution so that we can have some more questions and answers of the community if they'd like to ask them.
So the zoning commission, Pierce Township Zoning Commission, met a couple weeks ago and we were discussing potential zoning amendments for the year. And regulating data centers came up as the highest priority for zoning commission's perspective. And they voted unanimously to recommend that the board pass a moratorium in parallel. So it would be a moratorium on any data center use until that we've got it for 8 months. The moratorium would be for 8 months or until we get the data center regulations in our zoning code. So the moratorium is temporary until the data centers are properly addressed in our zoning code.
Eddie, you want to add anything to that?
I think Christine covered it perfectly.
I think she did too. We do have the resolution here, and unfortunately, we didn't put it into the packet in the beginning of this process. So I would like this to be placed, if there's no objection from my colleagues, to have this put as a separate item so that folks can go in and read it and make it very, very public so they can see what it is that we voted for. But again, it is a resolution. It's resolution number 2026 002. And again, we'll make that public so you can take a look at it. It'll be on our website so you can read it if you'd like. Do we need to read it through right here or?
You can just read the title.
Okay, which I've just done. Can I have a motion to accept the resolution initiating a zoning moratorium for data center uses located in Pierce Township?
Yes.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second?
Do we have any discussion? All right, going once, going twice, sold. Can I have a roll call, please?
Mr. Shepherd.
Yes.
Mr. Kelly.
Yes.
And Mr. Freeman.
Yes, all right, so then we can move on to the next item on our agenda, which I have lost my place on the agenda. So let's do some departmental updates. Let's start off with police, which we've got a stand-in today. You know what we do with the stand-ins. This is your first try. We're gonna haze you. Just be prepared.
Okay, I can handle that.
Norm can tell you it's ugly, ugly.
I'm Lieutenant Gammon. I'm with the Pierce Township Police Department, obviously. And we're just going to share some January anniversaries. Lieutenant Julie Poe just celebrated her 22nd year with the township. Lieutenant Philip Gammon, 12 years, and Detective Kevin Barkley, 9 years. That's all I have.
Oh, that's it?
That's it.
Wow, thank you. Oh,
It's true.
well. Usually say you can't pick your family, but in that case he could, and he didn't do well. Just keep her away from the family reunions. That's all I'm telling you. All right, Craig, you're up.
So I think you probably all have saw a little bit of social media buzz. Last week, we received a call for a dog that had fallen through the ice in a pond on East Locust Corner. Once we got there was Poor little dog in the water, clinging to the edge with the saddest eyes, begging us to get him. So our crews quickly, put on ice suits, grabbed our inflatable ice rescue boat and rope systems. We had two members that did, and two members that entered the ice, one that went into the water to get the dog. Dog was dried and then taken to the ambulance to be warmed up, then turned over to Claremont County Animal Control. So after we left, I made a Facebook post as dog didn't have a collar. We knew nothing about the dog. And that post ended up getting shared 117 times, was liked 569 times, and we got 73 comments. The dog's owner actually did end up seeing the information, did comment on it. They did go retrieve their loved one. And then unfortunately, we did find out there were two dogs. There was one missing. As far as I know, the other dog is still missing. So they were out looking for it, but we did get the one out. I share it. We're expensive. We know we're expensive. Our equipment's expensive. We're constantly in here asking you to approve purchases, but this is kind of the reality of why we have the stuff we have. The equipment we have, the training we do just helps highlight the great things that our folks do every day for the community.
Yeah.
And the other thing I wanted to share was just some run totals. So 2025, we finished with 2,585 runs. Of those, 1,888 were EMS, 697 were fire. For comparison, 2024, we finished with 2,341 runs. And as of today, we're already at 306 runs for this year.
Wow.
So continuing to climb. It jumps. Love listening to the pagers go off all night. So, it's picking up, and, we constantly look at our data, our stats, and with our new software we implemented last year, we're able to break the township into more defined districts so we can track areas we were never able to track before, and kind of isolate different parts of the township to evaluate, our service delivery. And so we are doing that. Other than that, that's all I have.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
So let's go with the service department. Norm, this is your third meeting, your second official.
Yeah, I'm
So
pro now.
yeah, you're a pro. We're counting on you. Get this done right. Okay.
All right.
No pressure, dude.
All right. As you know, we've had a lot of snow over the past couple months. I really didn't know this number of like cul-de-sacs in the township. We have a total of 137 cul-de-sacs in the township, and we clear all the cul-de-sacs. So kind of reason why we are a little slow getting to the cul-de-sacs, because we try to keep the main roads open, and then we come back and get to those due to we do have to use our loader to get to some, because we can't get the snow out of the cul-de-sacs with trucks, as there's nowhere to put the snow. So kind of reason why sometimes it takes a little while to clear them. That number really shocked me that there was that many.
Mm-hmm.
And we would like to start the process of searching for a new service department employee, a service worker 2 or 3. So.
Is that a motion for tonight? I should have.
Not a formal motion. I think that they're considering advertising for the position.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do they need consensus of the board or any motion to move forward?
As long as there aren't any major objections or anything.
Okay.
We
Right.
need a motion to hire.
Okay. I don't see any major objections unless, I think we can go ahead and move forward with that, I guess.
Okay, good. That's all I got.
Okay. All right, we got parks and green space. Hey, Carl, why'd you take the roundabout? Did you need steps?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, cool.
So just kind of kicking things off with the update on events. The first thing that we have coming up is next month is the Easter egg hunt on March 28th with an alternate date of April 4th. That'll be going from 10 to 12. One of the couple things that'll be changing this time around is that we're going to have a little more candy. I think that was kind of a consensus that we didn't have enough last year. So we're going to address that. Also a little bit of confusion about the order of operations as well with a lot of people. Unfortunately, that time of year, it's pretty cold. and waiting an hour to get to the Easter egg hunt. People show up at 10, can be frustrating. So we're going to try and move that around and do picture second, Easter egg hunt first, and hopefully it works. If not, I did say that you could blame me.
Excellent.
Yeah.
We will.
Another event that we have coming up will be on May 16th. This is something new for the township. We're phasing out 2 of our movie nights just because seasonally they don't seem to work. When we do them over the summer, the sun doesn't go down until very late. This is supposed to be for kids. The attendance was low and it just doesn't really make sense, especially when we were spending somewhere in the neighborhood of $1,500 per movie night. So we're channeling that money into a new event where we're going to have basically the circus. We're going to have trapeze, all that kind of high wire stuff, maybe some, we're going to check with Craig and make sure it's okay. Some like flame things that are going on. But so far, I think we're good on that. We've also coordinated with Clough Pike Baptist Church to get some other things for the kids leading up to the big show. So that, again, that'll be on May 16th. And then we have our concert set for June 20th and August 22nd. We will have a Fleetwood Mac tribute band. So we're trying to step it up and get some bands that have some good followings. That was kind of our problem last year. And also Zack Attack, which is pretty popular in the area. And then lastly, with the Claremont County Parks Grant, we are going to be pursuing funding to make some improvements to the Locust Corner Playground. Need some repairs as well as a mulch refresh for the playground. And so we're going to be pursuing funding for a mulch refresh, some panels to block off a slide that needs to be taken down. There's some safety issues with that, as well as a slide replacement that we're going to be pursuing an embankment slide for the park. So that'll be something new and cool. And that is all.
All right. Thank you.
I'll leave it.
All right. Planning and development.
So we already touched on this earlier, that the zoning commission is working on text amendments and the data centers are the top priority. So we will be bringing more on that.
All right. Thank you. Eddie, administration. Last, but certainly not least.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a quick update on Oak Street. We've been working, Norm and I have been working very closely on Oak Street. And we've also been working with the county. I sent a letter over to the Office of Community and Economic Development, attention to the county commissioners. Mr. Mayada requested that we send a formal set of, essentially a formal letter over requesting that we transfer funds from a previous project. And once I hear from that, I will update the board, but it looks like there's at least $50,000 to $60,000 that could be redirected to help us actually do the project in-house at Oak Street. Right now, the sidewalk is closed, which is a minor inconvenience, but our service department is regularly monitoring the condition of the roadway and the pipe there as well.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Sure.
Okay, let's move on into new business. Debbie, I hope you're ready.
I am.
You're on.
Okay. I request a motion to approve payment of payroll for the month of January for $474,987.67.
Motion, please.
I'll make the motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Kelly.
Yes.
Mr. Shepherd.
Yes.
And Mr. Freeman.
Yes.
I request a motion to approve the payment of bills for the month of January in the amount of $173,122.77.
Motion, please.
Yes. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Shepherd.
Yes.
Mr. Kelly.
Yes.
Mr. Freeman.
Yes.
I request a motion to approve the Claremont County Storm 2026 storm water permit in the amount of $4,456.78, and that has not changed over the last few years.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Kelly.
Yes.
Mr. Shepherd.
Yes.
Mr. Freeman.
Yes. All right, Police Chief Brocksterman. I want you to do your best
Oh, no.
Paul
Don't do
Brocksterman
it.
right here, because I know you've got it. I know you
Not
can
gonna fall
do
into
it.
that trap, sir. He's probably watching from somewhere.
Nah, he's on TV right now. He's in makeup.
We didn't make that.
That's right.
Good job on the intelligence test. You passed with flying colors.
Police Chief Paul Brocksterman requests a motion to purchase a 2026 white Chevrolet Tahoe four-wheel drive police pursuit vehicle from McCluskey Chevrolet for $62,811. This expenditure is a part of the police department's 2026 capital expenditure plan.
Do we have a motion?
Yes. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on the matter? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Shepherd?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Freeman?
Yes. Once again, here's your chance.
All right. Police Chief Paul Brocksterman requests a motion to allow the Union Township Police Department to install an Axon Outpost license plate reader camera in Pierce Township on State Route 125, 100 meters west of Arcadia Lane. The camera would monitor traffic traveling eastbound along State Route 125 corridor from Union Township towards Pierce and Batavia Townships. The Union Township Police Department will assume the responsibility of obtaining all permits and items necessary for the installation, operation, and maintenance of the camera and its system.
All right, so Union Township's covering everything?
Yes,
So what do we need a motion for?
because it's in Pierce Township.
It's technically in Pierce.
Yeah, and they're invading.
I got you. I'll make the motion.
We will have access to the data, correct?
Yeah, if we contact them, they're more than willing to share that.
Just wanted to make sure that was clear. And they won't think this is their land now, will they?
Correct.
Yeah, okay. All right. We have a motion and a second. Any further serious discussion on this matter? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Shepherd?
Yes.
And Mr. Freeman?
Yes. Okay, now Chief Wright, you're up. And could you do your best Paul Brocksterman impersonation?
I could, but it wouldn't be appropriate for a public meeting. But my motion has already been completed, sir. So it's on.
There we go. All right, Service Department, Norm. I'm not going to ask you, Norm. Not going to ask you.
Yeah, I couldn't do it anyway. I would like to request a motion to accept the following roadway, Cedarwood Drive, from Claremont County Engineers into Pierce Township roadway database for a total of 0.274 miles.
So this is going to be added into our road
Yeah.
mileage. What are we up to now?
We are up to 67.95.
Okay, do we have a motion?
Yes. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussions on the matter? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Shepherd?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Freeman?
Yes. Okay, Eddie, I think, are you next?
Yep.
All right, Eddie, you're up.
All right. I request a motion to approve resolution number 2026-001, a resolution authorizing the township administrator to enter into an agreement for retail electricity with a competitive retail electric service provider through the Center for Local Government Electricity Consortium. So the current agreement that we're on is a 3-year agreement, and effectively what they're looking for us to approve is a resolution that allows them to negotiate on our behalf, and at any rates could not be higher than the Duke rate to compare. Right now, I mean, of course, it's a moving target. What they're looking at right now is Duke's price to compare is 0.085 to 11 cents per kilowatt hour. Where we sit right now is 0.074. They anticipate it to go up. And not to set anyone's hopes or expectations too high. What they're hoping, though, is that they could get us at 0.08, which would obviously beat Duke's rate to compare. The only caveat that differs from prior agreements is that they're asking for 5 years instead of 3. And that is, of course, due to their view of incoming volatility and present volatility.
And this is just for our buildings.
For our purchases, yes.
All right, do we have a motion?
Yes. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on the matter? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Shepherd?
Yes.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Mr. Freeman?
Yes. All right, Eddie.
Okay. I request a motion to approve an agreement and enter into an agreement with Verdantis CT Consultants in an amount not to exceed $47,600 for contract services pertaining to the Oak Street storm sewer repairs. So what those repairs, what those services would encompass are surveying, engineering design, and then if we had to competitively bid the project and we didn't do it in-house, it also includes that as well. We're hoping that we do not have to do that though, and we can just do it in-house.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Do we have any further discussion? Gail?
If we do it in-house, then that amount then be discounted.
It would be, yes.
All right. Anyone else? All right. Roll call, please.
Mr. Kelly.
Yes.
Mr. Shepherd.
Yes.
And
Yes. All right. So Carl, he takes the direct route this time.
Dude, you should have gone all the way around. This time.
I'll
Wait.
do that on my way back, okay?
Wait, you've got another motion. You've got two motions.
And now I've lost my place. All right. I'm requesting a motion to approve the payment of $10,250 to Leroy Ellington Productions for the services of two bands as well as production for both concerts. Parks budget funds will be used for these expenses.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Kelly.
Yes.
Mr. Shepherd.
Yes.
Mr. Freeman.
Yes.
I'm requesting a motion to approve the payment of $4,400 to the Cincinnati Circus Company for a grandstand show and strolling performers at an upcoming Parks event. And again, Parks budget funds will be used for these expenses.
Now, what I do want to understand about this contract.
Yeah.
Does it have a dunking booth?
We have,
Before you answer that, since you're the new guy, you get to be the dunk.
It's cold water.
Cold water. Okay, well, perfect.
it is
You
May
did.
16th, so it could be 95 or 45.
Yeah, so we'll put ice cubes in it if that's what you wish. All right, cool. That's true, but we still haven't hazed him yet, okay? He's the new guy. All right, sorry, Carl.
I'm all done.
So we need a motion?
Yes, we still need a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
A motion and a second. Do we have any like real discussion on that particular matter? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Kelly.
Yes.
Mr. Shepherd.
Yes.
Mr. Freeman.
Yes.
As long as she's feeling right-handed.
Here's the fun fact. I throw right-handed.
Okay.
So yes, I will. Okay. That was way too much fun. I lost my place. Sorry, guys. Okay, with that, that's all of the new business. Now is the fun part of our show where we open it up to public comment. Anyone wish to take the podium? No one? No one. Okay. Oh, wait. Oh, I was so close.
In our events, we are going to do the July 4th bike parade
Okay.
here at the park again. And then we'll participate with the July 4th parade over in Sedona
Okay,
Ridge.
cool.
And then there's nothing planned right now tentatively for September, but I'm working on that date. Okay, thanks.
Excellent. Thanks. Thank you. All right, anybody else? Are you sure? Nobody? Okay. I better hustle this time. Okay, with that, then let's move to adjournment. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Yes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. I don't think we need to discuss it. Roll call, please.
Mr. Shepherd.
Yes.
Mr. Kelly.
Yes.
And Mr. Freeman.
Yes, our next meeting will be March the 11th.